Good morning! Welcome back to A Life Worth Living. I'm Frederick Groth, and I believe that God has a plan and purpose for everyone, and I have a message of hope and truth to show you a life worth living. This morning I have two lessons that I'm going to try to squeeze in from Numbers chapter 14. And if anybody had noticed, it seems that I missed a chapter, and I want to find out why. Numbers chapter 12 didn't show up in my list. So we'll find out why that happened, and if it was missed on purpose, that's fine. If it was missed by accident, we'll get back to it at a later time. Numbers chapter 14. This is after the spies come back and after they give the report of the promised land to the children of Israel. And that's when things fall off the wagon. 12 spies went into the land, and as we sing in Sunday school songs, 10 were bad and 2 were good. 10 had an evil report. And it's interesting that the Bible calls it an evil report. It was a true report, but it was a negative report. It was a report of negative thinking, a report of, I can't do it, we can't do it, we are not able to do it kind of thinking. And God calls that thinking evil. I want that to set in this morning a little bit. God calls thinking that is contrary to what He said is possible evil. And Joshua and Caleb and Moses and the priests were desperate to try to calm the people down and get them back on the straight and narrow. Didn't work so well. God had to intervene. Now, that's point number 1. Be careful what report you say. Be careful. Because point number 2 is hand in hand with that. The people accepted the evil report, and they said, "Would to God we had died in Egypt." Now this is my second point. You got to be careful what you wish for. You got to be careful with your words. You got to be careful with your thinking. You got to be careful, because God is going to give you what you ask. What do you mean God's going to give me what I ask for? What I speak. See, words are powerful. What you say, after what you think, has power. How you say things has meaning and has power. And Israel was given their request. Would to God we had died in Egypt or in the wilderness. And for the next 40 years, all of them that said that died in the wilderness. Not one of them entered the promised land. Thinking and speaking are so important in our success. Joshua and Caleb were the only 2 warriors of that generation that made it back into the promised land. Moses and Aaron, the high priest, and Moses, the leader, didn't even make it because they got so frustrated with the people that they sinned against God. And Joshua became the next leader, and Caleb, I love this guy. He's not talked about a lot in the Bible, but I love this guy because after the 40 years in the wilderness, the man was, I don't even remember if the Bible says how old he was. I'll have to look it up someday. He was close to 100 years old, and he took the main mountain of the giants with just himself and his family army. All of the rest of Israel got all upset about the giants in the walled cities, and they ended up dying in the wilderness because of their thinking and their words. And Caleb, the old man Caleb, walked up the mountain and knocked on the door of the giants and slew them all. See, you are capable of great things. You've got to believe that what God has given you talent to do is for a reason, and you can do great things. Don't let the words and the negative thinking and the things out there affect you to turn from what God has asked you to do, what God has given you the skills to do. You can succeed. Now it's time for you to put in the effort, put in the thinking, put in the words, and you can do it. Have an amazing day. Now get up, go, and live a life worth living. God bless.